Hey folks, this is Shetz, and this is notes on 9-1 about angles. I'm going to try to make this as short as I can, but I'm sorry, it just happens to be a long video, and there are parts in here that you want to pause so that you can really understand the idea that I'm trying to get across, the actual lesson. So here we go. An angle is a union of two rays with a common endpoint. And you know what angles look like. If I quickly drew one here. There you go. Put an arrow on it. And there you go. Put an arrow on it. And there's the common vertex. So it's two rays with a common vertex. The endpoint is called the vertex right there. And let me scroll down some more. Angles are determined by rotating a ray about its vertex, and I'll show you with these examples down below. The starting point of the ray is called the initial side and then the terminal side. So I know that I've started here because it says it's the initial side, and notice I'm going counterclockwise. And then this side, the pink side, would be the terminal side. And I'll show that by drawing this orange arrow like that. So we get over to here on this one. Notice this is the initial side. And this time we're going clockwise. And my pink side will be again my terminal side. So what we do is we measure the angle by the rotation from the initial side to the terminal side. This way we go up here, we go counterclockwise. That's a positive angle. And I guess that's because the Greeks, the way the quadrants are listed in your Cartesian plane, for some reason we go counterclockwise, just like the Earth spins counterclockwise. Counterclockwise is a positive angle. When we go clockwise, they're going to be negative angles. So if I look at this example here, I can see that this here is the initial side, and we went this way. And I'm going to say that probably is 140 degrees, somewhere around there. So I'll make an estimate, 140 degrees. Now this over here, here's my initial side, and I'm going clockwise, and that looks like it's about a negative 45 degrees. Because we went clockwise. This angle went counterclockwise. I know it's got to be a positive. And I'm just going to estimate it to be about 140 degrees. This guy here went clockwise, and that's negative 45 degrees. I'll do an estimate. You know, if you said negative 50, that would be fine too. All right, we go over to our next page. And this is talking about standard position. We know that the vertex is always at the origin, and anytime we have standard position, the vertex is at the origin, and the initial side coincides with the positive x-axis, which means we go along the green grass. So we're always starting here. Okay. Well, again, this one, if I use our last example, we are going counterclockwise. And to me, that looks like this initial ray, terminal ray is splitting that in half. So I would say 135 degrees. That's my guess on that one. And again, over here, we are starting on the positive x-axis, but this time we are going clockwise. Whoops, sorry about that. This time we are going clockwise, and that looks like that terminal side is splitting this quadrant exactly in half. So I'm going to say negative 45 degrees. And again, I know it's negative because I'm going clockwise. This arrow shows that I'm going clockwise. Counterclockwise is positive. Clockwise are negative angles. One word that really students make it too hard is coterminal. Angles with the same measure and coincide sides, meaning all we're doing is adding and subtracting 360 degrees. So from here, this looks like it's probably, well, if we go all the way around here, that's 180. I'm going to say maybe another 40. So I'm going to call that 220. 220 degrees is the angle. Okay. Now, if I would have gone this way, that would have been 140 negative. And one other idea was if I started here and went clockwise and did a whole lap, there's 360 plus another 220. Guess what? That would have landed me at 580. So you're just adding and subtracting a whole lap. 220 plus 360 gave me 580. Again, we always start here at the x-axis. I did a whole lap right there, then another 220, and that gave me a grand total of 580. And if you would have subtracted 220 minus 360, guess what? You would have gotten negative 140. So please don't make coterminal angles difficult. All you have to do is add and subtract 360 degrees. Okay, so if I go over here, this angle right there to me looks like it's 45 degrees. Okay, now if we would have gone the other way, clockwise, all the way around here, whoops, went a little too far, that would have been a negative 315 degrees. So that's all that it means. Oh, and if I added 360 to 45, I would have gotten 405. So here's the blue angle. And let me draw that for you. So I start here at our initial side. I do a complete lap. That happens to be 360 plus another 45. And guess what? We get 405 degrees. So that's all coterminal means, adding and subtracting of 360. Continuing on, we measure angles in degrees, and since there are 360 degrees in one revolution, 1 degree would be 1/360th of a complete revolution. To find coterminal angles, all we do is add and subtract increments of 360. And here's an example here. We have 390. When I add 360, I get 750. Okay, that's a coterminal angle of 390. So when I take 390 and add 360, I get 750. Great, that's positive. Now when I take 390 and subtract 360, I still get 30 degrees, but it's still positive. So I have 2 positive coterminal angles, but they ask for 1 negative. So now when I take 30 and subtract 360, I finally get a negative 330 degrees. All right, folks, we go on to our next page. And these are our common angles. Notice we have 30 degrees, 45, and 60, and those refer to our special right triangles, which we're going to be doing the unit circle fairly soon. When I add 90 and 30, I get 120. Here's 135. It splits the quadrant right in half. And I'll have more videos on this common degree measures. Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, Quadrant 4. Again, we go counterclockwise. All right, when I scroll down, recall from geometry that acute angles are between 0 and 180. Obtuse angles are between 180 and 360. Complementary angles are those that add up to 90. And supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180. So I just want to go back up to this chart, and these are the common angles that eventually when we do our unit circle, you're going to have to memorize. So make sure you know those angles carefully, and if you need to pause this video, go ahead and pause the video. We come down here, find the complement. Well, 20 plus what is 90? That would be 70. 20 plus what is 180? That would be 160. Sorry about that, had a phone call. So the complement of 130 doesn't have one. You're not allowed to use negatives, but it does have a supplement of 50. 130 and 50 is 180. 250 doesn't have a complement or supplement. Let's go to the last page before I run out of time. You can take a look at these, and I'd like to talk about this last one here. If I take 370 and add 360, I get 730. That's great. But now when I take 370 and subtract 360, that's 10 degrees. This is the negative column, so I'm just going to put that over here. I'm going to take that 10 degrees and subtract the whole circle, and notice we're now at negative 350. We go down here to the bottom, and I'm going to hand draw these, so it's not going to look very good, and I'm running out of time, but I'll quickly do this for you guys. 114, you don't have to be exact, but I'm going to say that's going to be in the second quadrant, just over 90, and please draw this red arrow so I know which way we went. That is in quadrant 2. All right, great. 227. Well, I know this is 180 here, and it's going to be a little bit more, I don't know, I guess about like that. You don't have to be exact. And that's going to start here, terminal, initial side, going to the terminal side. That's in quadrant 3. 75 degrees. That's shorter than 90, so that looks good enough to me. And make sure that you do draw this arrow the way we're going. And again, that's counterclockwise. We drop down to here, and I know that this down here is 270, so I have to be about 7 degrees more, and that's going to come all the way around to here like that. We got 395. Well, if I go once around, there's 360. Plus, I need another 35 degrees, so I'm going to do that. And please watch, when I draw the red arrow, I went one complete circle and then a little bit more. 92 degrees, well, that's just over 90 degrees, so I'll make it kind of close like that. There you go. Whoops, went a little too far. Negative 123. Well, if I go clockwise, there's negative 90 plus a little bit more, good enough. And again, I think I might have forgotten to put these in the quadrants, so that's quadrant 3. Negative 50 degrees, I'm running out of time here. That's going to be about like that. That'll be in quadrant 4. And negative 260, well, if I go all the way around to here, clockwise, that's 270, so I need to be a little bit shorter. There you go, folks. I think I only have 15 minutes and I think I'm done. There you go, quadrant 2. Make sure you hit these other quadrants up here. Great. Have a nice day. Bye.